And we're live. Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Assalamualaikum.
Yvonne from My Halal Kitchen and Dr. Medea, Holistic Mom MD. We are here today to talk to you about eating your veggies, like the oldest, old-fashioned, thing you could ever hear, right? Eat more veggies.
Eat more veggies, lots of veggies.
And why are they so important, Dr. Saeed? Why? Just like
phytonutrients to optimize your immune system. Every little color has their own phytonutrients, so it's super powerful.
Yes. And a lot of people are mistaken that they think carbs only come from breads and pastas and things, but veggies have lots of carbs, right?
Oh, absolutely, especially if you go like for carrots and your squashes and all those different types of foods and vegetables do have their carbs. So, and this is where I feel like we are so lacking. We are only concentrating on like these 5 like wheat, rice, dairy, sugar, and maybe corn.
All of them are making us sick, too much of all of that. Yeah. So today we're going to talk about the veggies that we use most commonly in our cooking. And Dr. Saeed has some sample recipes, and I have my sort of base of veggies. I don't think people can see them. They're over here. My base of veggies, fresh and frozen, and then we're going to talk about how we use them in our cooking. And I just really picked nothing exotic, nothing out of the ordinary. I just go for the things that I use pretty much all the time. I mean, variety is the spice of life, but these are more seasonal things anyway. So seasonal is really important when it comes to vegetables too.
Absolutely. Seasonal is super important. But again, remember that every food that you put in your body, you want to make sure that it's the most nutrient-dense foods. That's going to help heal your gut. That's going to balance out insulin levels. And these foods packed with phytonutrients, this is what's going to give you the immunity that we so crave specifically during these times.
Yeah. Seasonally, actually, those foods have the most nutrient density in them. So when you eat things out of season, they're actually less powerful for you. I mean, they've been probably trucked and shipped in. I don't know. Have you guys ever heard of the concept of qi in Chinese medicine?
Mm-hmm.
I found this so fascinating years ago when I read about it, and it said that whenever a vegetable or fruit is picked from a tree, and the longer it takes to eat it, it loses its qi or energy. So qi means energy in Mandarin, I guess. And it's so interesting because it's true. Like if once you pick something, it's got the most powerful juice in it, right? The most powerful nutrition because it's being fed by the tree that it's on.
Mm-hmm.
But when you take it off, it slowly loses that nutrition, energy, qi, whatever. I just thought that was so fascinating. And ever since I read that, I thought, freshest possible that you can get. And what is the freshest? It's the stuff that's seasonal. That's, growing at that time. That's when your body actually needs it. I mean, I really believe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us certain things, certain times of the year, because those are the things that our body would need for the weather, the climate, all of those things. We really have to kind of like think a little deeper about why things grow in certain times of the year and certain places around the world.
Right? Absolutely. And, specifically the kinds of diets, I know me and you talk a lot about the Mediterranean diets.
Mm-hmm.
And those Mediterranean diets are packed with vegetables.
So
olives.
Yeah. And, I've seen it in Italy, in France, in Spain, in Morocco, Turkey. The plates are full of vegetables. And yes, there's protein. There's like lentils or there's meat. But there's, not so much meat. But the plates are, like 90% full of vegetables, and that's the huge difference. And I mean, I talked to like other expats who were in Turkey at the time that I was there, and they said the biggest difference for them too was that in the UK that they felt like it was flipped around, like there's more meat than there were veggies. And I feel like here we've in the US, I mean, it seems like we get a little satisfied when there's a little salad, and then there's all this other mac and cheese or meats or whatever. But it really needs to be turned on its head. I mean, we really need to have way more of those scrubbing type of vegetables, the ones that like scrub your arteries clean, and like that's the job of some of these veggies. They really are blood cleaners and artery cleaners,
Absolutely.
all of that stuff. So
oh my gosh, and we can go through all of that because
Yeah.
it's so important. They say that these the balanced Mediterranean diet has been really well studied because it's really high in plant-based nutrition,
Yes.
diversity, healthy fats, and proteins, and they all decrease
Yeah.
metabolic syndrome and inflammation. And specifically right now, and I've actually started learning a little bit more, something called immunorejuvenation. And this is my new thing. So every 10 seconds, our bone marrow creates these cells that are like a million white blood cells and like 30 million and 20 million red blood cells at every 10 seconds. So if these come out into a world that are balanced and have low inflammation, then everything is nice and stable. But when they come out into the world, and it's really, actually what happens is in the actual bone marrow, is that in the bone marrow, there's sort of cells that are hematopoietic stem cells, and they don't have a job. So when they come out into the world, that's when the body tells it what kind of job it needs. And specifically when you eat a Mediterranean type diet, these foods really tell the body to keep the inflammation as low as possible and to be balancing cells, not the ones that are like fighting cells. Because if it comes out into a world of inflammation, and if you're not taking care of your body, if you're not optimized, if you're basically not taking care of the immune system, it comes out into a world that's high fire and oh my gosh, and then like the thymus is like, you need to be a fighter cell. And that's when a lot of these people are having problems, is because of the fact that those people that are really dealing with chronic conditions, and especially those people that are suffering from coronavirus complications, are those that have deficient immune systems. And everything that we're going to talk to you today, like plant-based foods, have thousands of phytochemicals that have been so helpful for immunity, like vegetables and even legumes and fruits, and all anti-inflammatory effects to really help optimize your immune system and keep it on the right track and keep it balanced. So
there's so much that comes out of that. I don't know. We have a little noise issue. You hear that?
Yeah.
It's like an echo.
Yeah, no, it's good now.
Okay. I mean, I've been a proponent of Mediterranean diet my whole life because I've grown up on a Mediterranean diet and American, but having Sicilian grandparents really influenced my a lot. But I will say, until I went to Italy and experienced Mediterranean diet in person, you don't really realize how different it is in the region. I mean, that is a way of life. So, we look at it like as a culture, but you can make a culture in your own home, right? Your home is your culture that you create, and your food culture is something you have control over. You can really do something about it. So when I think of Mediterranean diet, and this is, when I went to Turkey, I translated everything sort of Italian or Sicilian into like the Turkish food system there, but it was so much the same that I really could make everything I would make in Sicily, I would make in Turkey. It was so interesting because the ingredients are pretty much exactly the same. The things we can't find here, though, are like those sea grasses and lots of dandelion greens and other greens. I mean, they have them in some select stores, but in Mediterranean climates, they're all over the place. I mean, people will grow them in their yards and bring them to the market and sell them, and they're the most powerful things for your body. But the things that I cook with like all the time, I always have are spinach. I always get the fresh loose leaf spinach, but I also buy the frozen one too, because frozen I like to pop into like soups and stews and stuff just to have it on hand. I eat a lot of spinach. I always have, well, this isn't really a vegetable, it's parsley, but I wanted to say something about parsley because Dr. Medea, you can attest to a lot of the good that are in herbs, but I like these herbs with all of my veggies all the time. This is something I always have on hand, and it was so funny when I was taking an art class in Turkey, and the ladies always had really nice food that they would bring and share with everybody. But one day they they were just, one lady brought in a bouquet of parsley, and she just started eating it and offering some to everybody else. She's like, do you want some? And people were taking it and just chewing on it. And I thought, oh my God, that is the most interesting thing and so healthy, that instead of like a candy, a cookie, a piece of cake, it was, something.
Herbs.
And it's also like a breath freshener, right?
Oh, so nice.
Interesting. So, peppers, when they're seasonal, I'm always having peppers, because I use peppers for everything. I chop them up, put them in soups and stews, and I stuff them with, meats, or just, rice or whatever. You can do so much with peppers. I grill them. I put them on the cook them on the gas fire, then peel the skins off and make a Sicilian pepper salad. That's like my favorite thing to do ever. So I just have peppers for everything. Pizzas, you name it. And of course, tomatoes are part of the Mediterranean diet. But the thing is with tomatoes is that I've learned in Turkey something important, which was to take the skins off before eating them. And I think it's a digestion issue. But in the Mediterranean region, they typically don't ever eat them with the skins on. If you notice, like sauces and stuff, they're not made with the skins on. And if they are, they will grind them really, really fine with like a hand grinder to get those skins to be very, basically pre-digested, like they're done for you. So skins are not eaten. Like in the US, you give you a salad and it has all the skins on it. They're not eaten. If I've seen it in restaurants where if people see skins on, they just take them off. But there are also different kinds of tomatoes for different things. I mean, there are salad tomatoes, there are sauce tomatoes, but I have to say, if you have any yard space, grow these yourself, because there's nothing better than a homegrown tomato. I have yet to find a really good tasting tomato that's in a grocery store. Most of the time they look okay, but they taste like mush on the inside. They have no flavor. So I'm really funny about my tomatoes. I guess that's a rite of passage when you're Italian. You have to be like really funny about your tomatoes, I think, to pass the test. I don't know. Cucumbers are always on my table too, because I like them in salads. We have them at breakfast time, cut them up a little bit, put a little sumac and salt and lemon, So I know it's not a veggie, but lemon goes with all of this. Like whenever I cook spinach, for example, I put a squeeze of lemon on top. Sometimes for breakfast, either if I'm having eggs or not, I make a pot of spinach, and it cooks down.
Oh, I've had it at your house. Yeah. Oh, yummy!
With a little garlic and salt, pepper, lemon, you're done. You don't even need a fancy pantry full of spices. Really, you just need little olive oil, salt, lemon, you're done. I mean, that's the simplicity of the Mediterranean diet that I love so much, is that I stopped kind of going crazy about having, this like, I have to have 10 different kinds of salts and I have to have, 20 different spices. Really, I just, have my basics, and I'm so much happier that way. I do a lot of avocado, just because, with eggs, with salads and guacamole, whatever. And now they're growing them in Turkey, so we get them there, which is awesome. It's kind of a novelty, but I love them, I get them there. And then I always have, a good Italian always has garlic, but that's for everybody. In this day and age, I've been having, I think when the pandemic first started, I said to myself, let me go to my garlic bin and cut up like, a few cloves of garlic. I just cut up a few, chopped them up, and sprinkled some olive oil on them, a little bit of salt, and then I had some Turkish bread, and I would eat that. Like, I'd make sure that I had that every day, because garlic is so good for like antiviral, things.
Oh, absolutely.
For me, it was just like, okay, this is what I know, something I can do. I think we always feel so helpless when we hear things about how crazy things are, how scary things are. But these are things you can do to kind of just make yourself, try to feel healthier.
Absolutely.
the different kinds of onions, you know, of course, everyone probably has onions all the time, but you know, the purple ones are for salads, they're sweeter. The yellow onions I use for cooking. But you know, that's what I always have. And then I always have potatoes. And I love these golden potatoes because they are so buttery and they cook really fast. So if you're, you know, always busy, I don't ever buy the big russet potatoes just because I never have time for those. So I get the small ones, wash them up, cut them into fours, and I throw them into the oven. They cook in like 20, 30 minutes. While I'm doing other things, they're done, you know, so they cook really fast. And then a lot of people ask about frozen stuff. I mean, in Turkey, we barely ever bought anything frozen because the frozen sections are not very massive over there. And so, you know, it's funny because I barely buy frozen things here, but over there I was kind of like, can I have some frozen stuff? Because everything takes time, you know, to cook. But then I got over it and I said, that's okay, I don't really need it. But I do here buy, you know, frozen things because the thing is, frozen is not bad because they're usually, you know, getting the fresh ingredients and freezing them right away. So they're freezing that freshness. I mean, it's good for busy moms, busy people to have some frozen things. So I get the frozen peas and frozen spinach. Those are most of the things I get. I don't really get too many other stuff, like chopped peppers and things like that. I can chop those myself. So I'm going to make a really quick dish of potatoes and peas and spinach. For those of you who are like vegetarian or vegan, or you just want to have like a nice big pot of greens for your family, this will go good alongside fish or chicken or meat or whatever. So while you're talking about all the recipes you're making or you made today, I'll work on this.
Oh, excellent. Did you, okay, so do you want me to take you off the screen or did you want me to just?
Yeah, you can. Sure.
Or, okay, or I'd make you small like me.
Put me off to the side like you are.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
That is cool.
Okay, let's. There we go. Okay, awesome. So this is so exciting because a lot of things that are in Yvonne's house are very similar to what's going on in my house. And because in my house, remember that the only foods that we really put in our bodies are the ones that are going to balance our immune system, optimize our health from the inside out by healing our gut microbiome and balance out our insulin levels are the most nutrient dense foods for you. Because specifically right now, dietary change has like a powerful role in improving the outcome of COVID-19, and that they've done studies to that, and we can link it into, if you need that, we can link it. But they've lowered the risk of metabolic syndromes and improve your overall immunity. And there's so many different things about foods because they have things like algaic acid, which is a potent bioactive with health defense properties, that include that's in chestnuts and pomegranates. So all of these fruits even destroy cancer cells, but specifically, they all have phytonutrients, and these phytonutrients are really healing for the inside out, and they're angiogenic. So I want to go through these here because these phytochemicals are what's going to optimize your immune system, help you with something with immunorejuvenation. So when those immune cells come out, they're in a state where they're happy and healthy, and they can turn into those cells that function appropriately. Otherwise, when you don't have enough vegetables, you're depleting your body with you're depleting your body, but also what happens is that your body doesn't get those nutrients. Because did you guys know that this is where your immune system needs all of these nutrients to function appropriately? Like zinc and magnesium and calcium and B12 and vitamin D, and all of these things come in vegetables. So let's go ahead. First, we got the red vegetables. We got the red vegetables here. And these red vegetables like tomatoes and bell peppers and beets. We got beets here, carrots. All of these contain lycopene, and they're also antioxidants that help fight off basically any genetic damage that can cause cancer, and it can prevent you from heart disease. They even these beets actually contain phytonutrients called betalains, which are antioxidants, anti-inflammatories, important for detoxification support. So super important. Now we're going to go into the orange vegetables. These orange vegetables like carrots, and there's pumpkin, there's sweet potato, there's orange bell peppers, there's tons of squash varieties. All of those have these alpha carotene and beta carotene, and these alpha carotenes that protect the skin and the vision and even protect against cancer. Subhanallah. Awesome, 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 awesome. Then we have is these yellow. I mean, I just love carrots. Like, look how like the beautiful colors that even carrots come in. Beautiful. This is how I sort of lay out my foods for my kids to see the color of the rainbow. So when we have yellow, these yellow or green vegetables are like, you know, where we got yellow peppers, and then even your greens here, which are your broccoli sprouts. All of these yellow vegetables, mustard, turnips, avocados, even yellow corn, are all really great. They have carotenoids, lutein, you know, and other things that are really beneficial for your eyes, protect against atherosclerosis, and even a great source of fiber, specifically your yellow squashes. Then we have is your green vegetables, and your green vegetables, oh my gosh, we love our broccoli. So I always have tons of broccoli, and we have collards and cabbage. Then there's also ways like kale and Brussels sprouts. And so all of these vegetables have phytonutrients. Specifically, the ones I want to talk about are sulforaphanes. And sulforaphanes raise your glutathione, boost detoxification, inhibit carcinogen. So really is really good for anti-cancer. And then the other piece of the puzzle that my kids love in these green vegetables are seaweed. Seaweed, like they even get little packets of seaweed that they eat all the time as a snack, and that as a great source of iodine, it even strengthens the immune system. It contains antioxidants that can fight off inflammation and cancer. And then even again, cruciferous vegetables also have your AACs and Ks that are packed with like fiber and reduce inflammation, also fight cancer. So do you see how just those foods can be so nutrient dense? And then we have the purple, right? These purple vegetables also are, you know, have like something called anthocyanins, and they're found in like purple potatoes and red cabbage. Like I love my red cabbage and eggplant, and they actually prevent cell aging. They improve the vascular and cognitive function, blood flow. They reduce inflammation, and they inhibit the DNA damage in the brain. And then we have things like that are the pale, so garlic, the pale green or the white type of foods like cauliflower, leeks, garlic. All of garlic in and of itself, like Yvonne talked about garlic and how she likes to put it in all these things. It actually has allicins, which are powerful antimicrobials, so something that fights off bacteria. They are also immune boosting and have anti-cancer, anti-tumor, and may even contain like antioxidant flavonoids. And then specifically in the cruciferous vegetables, we also again have those sulforaphane that it can prevent cancer and antioxidant activities and contributes to detoxification. And we love cauliflower in the house. And I'm going to show you some recipes that we do with cauliflower. I sort of sneak it to everything the kids eat. So there's three things that I sneak into everything the kids eat, because those things that, you know, they just can't tell, and I'll tell you that. But the cauliflower is rich in these like sulfur-containing phytonutrients that are antioxidant, anti-cancer, and also detoxifying agents. So, and then the other things that are really, so let's talk about those, specifically the ones that are really good for your immune system. And it's like, also, all of these are really good for your immune system, but specifically the other, like the spotlight ones are like mushrooms. Oh my gosh. So there's so many different types of mushrooms. There's oyster mushrooms. There are, you know, shiitake mushrooms. There's so many different types of mushrooms in there. Have like bioactives that actually fight all the bad guys, and they're immune boosting. That's so super important to have that into your diet every day, regularly, along with, again, something else that's in my kids' diets on a regular basis is broccoli sprouts. I put broccoli sprouts in everything. Why? Because it's like an herb. It sort of disintegrates. It has really no flavor. So herbs have flavor. This doesn't really have any flavor. and it sort of disintegrates in the food, and the kids are still getting the vitamins and the nutrients, and they're not noticing. It's just so delicious because these broccoli sprouts. So broccoli also contains something called sulforaphanes, and these sulforaphanes have like these powerful bioactives that really activate the immune, that really are support the immune system. But these sprouts, right? These sprouts contain 100 times more sulforaphane than the full-grown broccoli. So to beat disease, activate the immune system, and that can also increase your NK cell activity, which is a cell's natural killer cell that is really important in immunity. These broccoli sprouts will actually boost your overall immune defenses, fight against even flu vaccine, flu viruses, and all these things to really optimize your health and well-being. And again, something else that we use in our house a lot is called chili peppers. And chili peppers contain like bioactives, like capsaicin that activates the immune system. And it's actually been shown to increase the number of circulating white blood cells. So right now we need our immune system, we need our blood cells to really optimize our overall health and healing. And it increases that number and increases the immunity. So it's really super important. But do you see how all of these things, look how beautiful that is. I leave this on my table, and this is where the kids are like, oh my gosh, we love color. So we talk about eating the rainbow. This is the rainbow that we want to focus on. And eating diverse, because, and then I can't stress that enough, because our gut microbiome has tons of bacteria. And the less diverse, so it's basically like a rainforest, right? So the more diversity of the bacteria that you have, the better off your body can fight off bad guys. Have you ever seen a rainforest? There's so many different varieties out there of different plants, and we don't need to spray any pesticides or herbicides or anything on it. So it's actually stronger because of the diversity. And that same applies to your diet. When you have to include these diverse phytonutrients, because these diverse phytonutrients will really help to optimize your immune system, really help to like decrease metabolic syndrome, and really give you the nutritional value that you need. And I have to, again, and then there's other things that I really want to talk about also is fermented vegetables. And I have a lot of that here too. So we have fermented vegetables like sauerkraut and kimchi and probiotics. All of those will help to reduce the incidence and durations of even respiratory infections. And they're packed with they're really important for gut health, and because they're sort of probiotic, so they add all that good bacteria to your gut. So these are the kinds of things, and onions and garlics are all prebiotic foods, which are food for your gut bacteria. So prebiotic foods, the other prebiotic foods are like chicory root and dandelion greens that Yvonne talked about. Then we have leeks and onions and peas. So everything that Yvonne's going to make right now with the peas and all of those delicious is all prebiotic ingredients, and then all those other phytonutrients that she has to really help heal your body. So she's cutting up something right now. What are you cutting up right now, Yvonne?
I put about 5 pounds of garlic in this thing, but it's a big pot of veggies. So let me show you.
Yes.
I mean, you don't have to use this much garlic, but I like it because it's a pretty big pot. And you cut it up nice and fine, and you won't taste big chunks. But basically, I put peas and spinach and a little oil, of course. You don't need a lot of oil. This is going to cook down and get a lot of moisture, but you can see.
Wow, how beautiful.
Garlic. You could even put onions. Like you could saute onions first and put it in, but I think that makes it a little too oily for me. So I want it to be a little bit steamed almost because the spinach is going to give a lot of that water moisture. So you don't need a lot of oil, and then just put it on low, cover it, and it'll be done in like 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh, how easy is that?
Oh, super easy. Just a little salt, sea salt or Himalayan salt. Sorry, probably can't see.
Beautiful.
Sea salt, Himalayan salt, and black pepper for me. And in the end, when I serve it, I like to serve it with a little hot chili pepper on top and a juice of half a lemon. It's really good.
Oh my gosh, we're
So
gonna
healthy, right?
So healthy, delicious. Awesome. So we're gonna go back to like I wanted to show you the rest of this while Yvonne's continuing to work there. So again, eat your vegetables. Eat the rainbow every single solitary day. I cannot stress that enough. The more colors that you have in your day, the more colors that you have in your diet, the healthier you are. If you're just feeding your kids white rice all day long with very limited vegetables or fruit, you're basically making them sicker. And I'm going to just say that bluntly because they've actually done studies where they've given prisoners just white rice and all day long and all night long, and they were basically I think the study was like, got blind, like it was really bad. Like they suffered from really a lot of health problems just because they had no diversity in their diet.
Yeah.
Really important.
We are going towards a monocrop culture.
Yes.
And that's what's making people sick. There's one kind of potato. There's one kind of, we need, nature is variable. There's so much variety in nature. Like you mentioned, the rainforest. I think that's why I'm very attracted to places where the food scene is colorful. Like if you go to Mexico, Costa Rica, Spain, all these places, they're just more colorful in their produce. And I think the people are so much healthier as a result. And so we have to do our best in here to bring that rainbow home. And I think what's really helpful is if people have a little bit of a routine every day. Like yesterday, I interviewed the founder of a black seed oil company, and we talked a lot about black seed oil and honey and the black seed in general. And I thought, the thing that I've gotten into the habit of is like every morning when I wake up, I have a glass of lemon water, I have my vitamin D, and then I have my black seed oil or black seed with honey. That's my routine. So as you get used to that, that's your habit. Like even when I'm traveling, that's in my travel bag. When I go to a hotel or something, that's still part of my regimen every single day. And then I can be variable with my food, my fruits and vegetables and all of that. But even that is a habit that you get into. So when you have that habit and you say go out, let's say you go out to a restaurant, which not really a big fan of, but sometimes you have to, especially for work and whatever, your eye is going to pay attention to, wait, where's all the color? Bland things aren't going to be appealing to you. So you're going to look at like a menu item that is more colorful, right? It's part of a habit that you have to train your body to be accustomed to. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it is a habit. It really takes time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And right now what we do is I think we've developed the wrong habit. Mm-hmm. Is I know that everywhere we go in parties and in our cultures and it's all you see zero color. It's just artificially made color. It's just white rice, white bread, white potatoes, with maybe some curry on top, and that's it. And then maybe, but we don't have color. We got to introduce that color back into our daily routines to make it part of a habit. So you are absolutely correct on that.
Yeah, it is just like, people who want to get into the habit of exercising. So I really think this is the ultimate self-care too. Like here's a tip, I think, unsolicited advice. Take a moment to not be overwhelmed by all of this, right? And all of the other webinars we've done where we've talked about all these, we're just full of information here. But take a moment to sit down with yourself and write in a journal or a piece of paper, what are your goals for your health, your life? And write those like in one piece of paper or one column, and then look at the things that you can do today or tomorrow. Like if I'm reflecting on this at night, I would say, okay, tomorrow, if I really need to pay attention to my vitamin D, like sometimes we forget. I forget, I'm craving chocolate, so maybe that means my body needs magnesium, but then I get busy and I forget. I think we need to sit down and really reflect and think, how am I feeling? What does my body need right now? If I'm super exhausted, I need rest, or I need to check my thyroid, or if my hair, someone mentioned their hair falling out. What is going on in your daily life that is stressing you, that is making you unhappy? Food can affect our moods too. So I think if we sit down and we really write out how we feel, and then what do we want? How do we want to feel? How do we, want to live our lives? And then what can we do about it the very next day? go out to the store and buy your vitamin D, or go to a great grocery or farmer's market and get the rainbow. Those things are going to make you feel 100 times better than sitting there panicking, watching the news and, listening to the all the negativity around. This is something everybody can do, right? You take control of what you can take control of. We don't have control of everything, but we do have control of some things, and that's what we put in our mouths.
Absolutely. And if you can start off with just start with the rainbow. Start off, what kind of reds am I going to have in my day? Yeah. What kind of yellows and oranges?
Right.
So after you sit down and reflect, you sit down and journal, you create what kind of goals you want, and then you just start simple.
Right.
And I don't think that's about taking what I'm trying to get you guys to do right now is to crowd out all of the foods that are sort of nutrient less, like that are deficient in nutrients. So because when you start eating all this kind of foods, and what Yvonne's cooking there, when you start eating that, you don't get really hungry for anything else.
No, you don't. It's a turn-off.
Yeah, it starts to turn up, exactly, because that's so artificially colored.
And there's
other stuff are artificially colored. This is all natural, real whole foods that are really powerful for your health.
I was at a mall yesterday, and this is how things get to you, right? I was at a mall yesterday, and it's beautiful scenery, nice music to get you shopping, right? All these things are very, they're very well thought out. They're planned out for you to shop and to buy. And the restaurants in the mall, like the food smelled really great and all of that. And I was really feeling hungry. And there's lots of like green places to eat and plant-based stuff, which is fine. But I noticed a cupcake machine. There was a cupcake machine. You could literally put your
money. It just comes out of the machine?
Yes.
Oh my
gosh. And it was so funny because, and who were there? Teenagers, right? They're they're going to get their cupcakes. All right, have a little fun. Nobody said anything about that. But what my point is that, you have to arm yourself with a habit, a really good habit, to go there and sort of laugh about it and walk past it versus feeling like you have to have something that maybe isn't so healthy for you and then feeling terrible about it later. It's not to deprive yourself. It's just to get into the habit of making choices that don't feel like you don't have any power over yourself. If I really wanted the cupcake and I felt like, I'm not saying I never have those things, but it's just, I didn't need it. I was fine. I didn't need the sugar. I didn't need the, I don't even know what's in all that. I just thought that was cute. I absorbed it for a minute and I walked by. But that's because I've developed habits for years on how I want to feel. And I know if I have that much sugar, I am not going to feel good after that. That's just me. Everyone else is different, but pay attention to how you feel after you eat. Half hour after you eat, an hour after you eat. How do you feel? That's a really good marker of what you're putting in your body versus blaming outside sources. Sometimes, it's not about what the neighbor's doing. It's about maybe what you're putting directly into your mouth.
Absolutely. And again, pay attention to your body. I think we've started to live in a culture where we're no longer mindful of the foods that we put in our bodies. So, for me, every single meal that I try to cook, I'm going down a list. I'm like, okay, what is my vegetables? Instead of surrounding your foods with, okay, what kind of, what kind of carb do I want to eat? So usually it's so funny. Sometimes my husband will be like, oh, I like variety in my food. I'm like, really? You guys eat, like your culture eats, we literally eat bread and rice for the rest of your life, every single solitary day. That's not variety. You have to start to, and he did. Then he recognized. He goes, "Oh, when I eat that, then I feel sad." So again, pay attention to your body.
Yes.
Start getting out of this habit. Start creating a diversity in your foods.
Right.
In my house, that's what I do. I really help focus on your vegetables, clean protein, and healthy fats, and that is where I start with. So in my house here, what I got going on here, and then we can show this. So for example, what do I do at my house? Eid's coming up this like in 2 days. Yay, Eid Mubarak to everybody. But Eid's coming up. So guess what? I'm gonna be cooking. There's people gonna be over at my house, and I need to cook something nutrient dense. And so instead of focusing on those the lack of food, like just focusing on the bread or the carb, okay, what do I want? We got to now shift that focus to those foods that will, just like Yvonne says, the foods that will actually make your body stronger, healthier. And those are your vegetables, clean protein, and healthy fats. So again, because the foods that you need to have nutrient dense, heal your gut, and balance your hormone levels. So these foods here, like this one, I just did this morning on a Instagram live. I did a cauliflower stir fry rice. And I took, in my house, again, remember this, I have a lot of craziness. I do a little bit more packaged thing than Yvonne does. So I go to Trader Joe's or they at Whole Foods, and then they have the Myers, all these different stores have like already organic shredded green cabbage and orange carrots and red cabbage in it. I add like a packet of rice cauliflower that's already frozen. For me, like I did this in 2 seconds while I was in the house and trying to feed the kids for breakfast. It literally took 5-10 minutes at the most. At the most.
Quicker than going to a restaurant and waiting for food to be prepared for you.
Yeah, I know. It is, right? This took a lot less time.
Yeah.
And you know all the ingredients in it. Like, just take a look at that, you guys. Like, it's just, and actually my kids to have this for breakfast. This was their breakfast this morning. And they actually had seconds because they're like, Mama, this is so delicious. So that was, and they had like the eggs in it. So it was like a super nutrient dense, and that was food.
That's kind of a testament to what I've seen when I'm traveling around the world, that breakfast around the world is so different than Americans' breakfast. I mean, there's protein at breakfast. I mean, if you go to Asia, it's going to be something like that with the eggs, like an egg stir fry with noodles or something, or fish. Even in Japan, fish with rice is not uncommon. And I've had it in different countries where I've had. I think in Mexico, I had fish tortillas, fish tacos for breakfast. And I felt so great throughout the day. I mean, I don't eat it as soon as I wake up. Let's say, it's not right away. But the point is that it's not, I mean, if I eat cereal, I always wondered why if I eat cereal and milk, I feel sluggish.
Yes.
Or pancakes, I feel sluggish. It just never suited my body personally.
No, and this is like exactly.
Yeah.
Focusing on those nutrient dense ingredients.
And in Italy, they don't, you talk about intermittent fasting, and I think that they don't say this outright in Italy, but in Italy, there really isn't a breakfast. It's a little bit of coffee with maybe like some kind of carb, but even like a piece of bread, because you can't have coffee in an empty stomach. But they don't have big breakfasts. They eat the big meal at the middle of the day, like around 1 o'clock or so. So in a way, you're fasting.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting, and I never really thought about it. Then there's the Turkish breakfast, which is really on Sundays where there's that big spread, but the rest of the time it's, maybe a little eggs, veggies. You're not going to see cereal and milk,
Yeah, no. And then all of these artificial foods, they raise your blood sugar level up. They cause the kids to go crazy. So now you're not even just dealing with the weak kids, you're dealing with the hyperactive kids and those kids that have temper tantrums, and they can't concentrate because their bodies are packed with sugar, and most kids now are pre-diabetic.
I think we need to switch the paradigm, switch the story that veggies are only for the other part of the day, right?
Yeah. No. Veggies,
we incorporate them in the morning.
So that's where in my house, this is that we had this for breakfast. I will leave a plate out like this all day long on like a tray like this, and the kids will eat this throughout the day, even this for breakfast. And then what they love is they love their green smoothies or their juices. And so we always incorporate a juice or if I make it fresh, in my house, we love carrots, beets, celery, garlic, turmeric, and a little bit of ginger, just a little bit of ginger. And even like a quarter of an apple. as a juice,
Yeah.
and it's so delicious. The kids love it. So that's, you can again incorporate that into your daily routine. We add fermented vegetables. The fermented vegetables again are really like sauerkraut. We do sauerkraut almost every day in our house.
Yeah.
Lots of sauerkraut that we can incorporate, and that's something that we incorporate. Again, it's delicious with your eggs in the morning.
I have a jar of kimchi here somewhere. I just bought, and I'm definitely gonna, it's Korean, right? It just like goes really well with Asian food, but I think you can have it any time of the day. I'm really like, my probiotic choice is yogurt, but I do explore other things. I really like kimchi a lot.
Oh, we love sauerkraut. We love kimchi. We actually started fermenting lots of things at my own house, and I can show you this. And this one actually, this is more in vinegar, but we've made our own pickles. So here, my mother-in-law loves to pickle, and so this is just Himalayan salt, water, and that's it, and apple cider vinegar.
Yes, that's super easy to do.
Super easy. Like, so the kids eat this every day.
Yeah.
In here we have the same kind of formula, but it's carrots and ginger. It's carrots and garlic and cauliflower. And then in different cultures, there's something called achar.
Achar, yes.
Achar. So that again is fermented. But we just
don't buy the ones from the grocery store. They have so much salt.
So much salt, so much artificial stuff. This one you can easily do, and my mother-in-law does it at home with all the organic vegetables and the organic oils and all the organic.
Definitely do a recipe for that, because that's something I'm also getting into in Turkey. I was at the hairdresser one time, and I love that picture of you, by the way. Just stay like that. I was at the hairdresser, and when she was setting my hair, and I'm just waiting, she offered me, she came and offered me pickled turnips.
Pickled turnips?
A whole plate of pickled turnips. And she said, would you like some? And I'm like, okay. And I tasted them, and they were so sour. But it's because it was homemade. And I have to say, like, for me, it was so different, and it was hard for me because that was real pickled turnips. I mean, nothing, jarred. It was a family recipe. And I said, I know this is good for me. But if you're not used to the taste, you have to slowly accustom yourself. Just tell yourself it's very healthy for you and eat it. But again, part of the culture. Would you ever, that's an amazing thing that, people feed you like all natural stuff.
Yeah.
In other parts of the world.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. And the things that we could just do at home. Again, this is something my kids also love. Let me just finish this up, and then we'll go back to Yvonne's deliciousness. I did this morning. It's Brussels sprouts I love just coconut aminos and shiitake mushrooms and onions. And then for those people that are like, oh my God, my kids can't eat vegetables. They won't eat vegetables. What am I going to do? So I hide the vegetables. And when I hide the vegetables, one, you can do it this way to see if they'll do it. But the way that I hide the vegetables isn't like ground beef or in kebabs. In this one here, we've put in, I've put shiitake mushrooms, because you just dice it up really small. I put cauliflower rice. So I've added cauliflower rice, and then I've added like Brussels sprouts, broccoli sprouts, and you can even get like sunflower and kale sprouts that I just stick in. So everything that my kids eat, I have snuck in vegetables, even those vegetables that they probably would love.
And you can grow
in tons of vegetables.
If you, for those of you who don't have a lot of sun to grow the full spinach or the kale, you can just grow the sprouts. That's because the sprouts come up, but maybe you don't have enough light for all of the, the spinach to grow full term. Just plant some spinach seeds and radish seed or something, and just grow them for the sprouts instead of the full vegetable.
And they're so beneficial. They're so beneficial.
Here's the finished product.
Ooh, let's take a look at that. Here, let me remove my
camera. Ooh, it's hot. Let's see. So, garlic, peas, spinach, and if you want to put potatoes, potatoes should be boiled first because they won't cook unless, this takes so little time that you need to have, if you want potatoes, you just, I had some pre-boiled potatoes, so I added them in, but they're not going to cook from raw in this dish. So
yeah, no, the potatoes, again, all of these foods are packed with delicious prebiotics.
I love the word phytonutrient too. That's such a cool word.
Yeah, and phytonutrients. I know, I love using it. And prebiotics. Delicious.
Someone is asking a question about saying when you wash the carrots, they lose color. That doesn't sound natural. I don't think they lose. It's not like they lose all their color. It's just that they discolor. Like the red is not going to be very bright red when you cook them, or purple is going to be like, it's going to look a little darker when you cook them, but they don't lose their color.
No, they shouldn't. They shouldn't lose their color. And a lot of times I just quickly, again, something about washing vegetables. What I do is I don't really power wash everything. Especially if I'm getting all organic, I'll just quickly, just like a very light rinse under the thing. Because you're getting a lot of the microbiome from some of the soil chemicals and some particles that might be in here. You're getting that microbiome. It actually increases the biodiversity of your microbiome. You get the dirt off, but it's not like you power wash it. So
yeah, like so antiseptically cleaning.
Yeah, no, you don't need to.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem we see in the U.S. is that we want to sterilize everything. We know there's a difference between being clean and being sterile. Like a surgery room needs to be sterilized, right? Mm-hmm. But your house needs to be clean. Mm-hmm. There's a difference, right?
Absolutely.
You're a doctor, you know that, right?
Oh, yeah.
When we sterilize everything around us, we are not getting any of that microorganisms, or
what it actually kills off those. Because remember, if it kills 99% of the bacteria on the outside, what is it going to do to our insides? It's also going to kill our bacteria.
Right.
So again, so important to understand. So let's see what other questions people have about veggies.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you keep on going. Here's another one. Which veggies are better to be consumed raw? So I think all of the vegetables can be consumed raw.
But some are like more harder to digest. Like I don't like to eat peppers raw. I feel like they hurt my stomach a little bit. I need to cook them, or that's why we grill them or put them on our gas flame and then take the skins off, because they're softer. Once you take the skins are pretty hard and rough.
Absolutely. And I think that when specifically those people with gut inflammation, mm-hmm. If their gut is really inflamed, sometimes they can't even tolerate those foods raw. Mm-hmm. So I have them start off with like in stews and slowly start to like cook those vegetables a little bit. And then I know we had another question here about sometimes like the digestion. Like a lot of people, again, can be sensitive to nightshades. And those include your like peppers and tomatoes and paprika and things like that. So again, everybody has their own individual diet. But again, most people will find so many health benefits in just these foods. So it's really important to incorporate them as best as possible.
Someone is asking about my spaghetti sauce recipe.
Yeah, we got to do that.
Didn't we do that in a previous video?
I thought we did.
We did, in like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Samina, you can look that up. I'll try to look it up as well. But the recipe is in my summer Ramadan cooking book. So let me find a link for that. I don't have it on my website, I don't believe. But you could also use the, summer Ramadan cooking is the best source. Let me get a link for that.
Yeah. And then, somebody, Momina asked, are there real natural rainbows? Yeah, this is the natural rainbow. All organic vegetables. And let's go through some of these other ones. Spaghetti sauce. Yeah, Rhonda loves eggplant. That's awesome, Rhonda. Keep it up. Air fried, awesome. Sakina says salam. Hey, Sakina.
Alaikum, Sakina. She's my friend. How are you?
Yeah, that's awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, so where do I buy my vegetables? All my vegetables I get either at the local grocery store. Obviously, farmers markets would be the very best, but right now it's a little difficult for me. Yesterday I worked for like 12 hours, and then after that so I was seeing patients, and then I'm like, oh my God, I got to get groceries for the kids. So at 9 o'clock at night, I was going to Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. So I got all my vegetables at Trader Joe's, and they're really great because you know that they're all use non-GMO. Everything was nice and clean. Trader Joe's has really great prices, and it can be found all over the country.
Yeah, from what I know, they're all of those non-GMO.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hashimoto patient is asking, you have experience with that?
Yes. So what can we eat and what can we not eat for Hashimoto's? Thank you for that question. So I was on thyroid medications for 8 years of my life. 8 years. And now I don't need to be on it anymore. So that's awesome. Woohoo! I feel amazing.
They have to be on it forever.
Yeah, we're told we have to be on it forever. Absolutely. But there are specifically for Hashimoto's patients, they're like, oh, you can't have your cruciferous vegetables, you can't have this, you can't have that. But when you weigh the risk versus the benefit, when you see that these foods are actually super beneficial, and you got to first remove all those foods that are really toxic to your immune system and to your overall. So what is Hashimoto's for those people that don't know? Hashimoto's is an autoimmune condition where your body starts to attack your thyroid. And so when your body starts to attack your thyroid, we need to optimize your immune system. And so because we need to actually slow it down, make sure that basically it's an altered immune system that is going out of haywire. So we got to eat those foods you got to first remove those foods that can cause problems. So the steps are to healing your gut is to remove those foods that can cause problems. I'm going to write this here. So remove those first foods like the sugar, the fake food, the processed foods, GMO, and common food sensitivities like wheat and gluten and dairy. Those are all a must for those people with Hashimoto's or any other autoimmune conditions. We got to get rid of those. And so that's, when people, I can't have my vegetables because I'm Hashimoto's. No. You can't have your fake food and the sugar and the processed foods and the GMOs. Those are the kinds of things you want to get rid of first. Then you want to replace that with the nutrient-dense foods to help you heal your gut, which is vegetables, clean protein, and healthy food. So all of these rainbow foods that we talked about are really important. Then we replace those gut microbiome with your probiotics and prebiotic-rich foods that Yvonne has there, and I just showed you here. Then repairing the gut with bone broth foods with key nutrients in it, like zinc and vitamin A and D and C and omega-3s. So all of these foods have that in it. And then again, rebalancing your body with lowering your stress, meditation, nature, play, exercise, good friends, gratitude, and detoxification. So that's just an overview with Hashimoto's and other autoimmune conditions that can really help to optimize your overall health. Again, get rid of the other foods. When you take the risk versus the benefit ratio, this is where it's all about, right here.
I was in a pet store the other day for my cat's food. I found like a smaller shop, not one of these commercial pet stores. Everything in there was like all the best pet food, all the best natural food for pets. And it was amazing. It was tiny, but it was packed with all this great stuff. And you know what they're selling now for dogs and cats? Excuse me, little packets of bone broth.
Are you kidding me?
It's awesome.
I was just telling my neighbor yesterday, I feel like they are taking, we're feeding our pets better than we're feeding our children.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, okay, I mean, we have them for us too, but I was really happy to see that they have them because there's so much junk in even our pet food, and then pets are getting sick. So, I mean, I'm just a really protective fur mama, like I really want to make sure she has like the best food, like she's really healthy, but she likes like brothy things. You know, I think animals are funny because they go for what they crave and what their body really needs. I think when we're more in touch with ourselves, we will do the same thing. You know, we have to be in touch. Animals are like pure positive energy. They kind of know, and we can learn a lot from them, I think. And so anyway, I kind of pay attention to her and like her diet and how it, you know, affects her behavior and stuff. Because on bad food, she's not happy. She's like really crabby. It's so interesting.
And yeah, same thing happens with our kids. And then we think, why are they acting up?
Yes. And, you know, I mean, in Islam, we have this belief that our body is an amana or a trust. So are like, if you adopt animals or you have children, like they're a trust on you. Like you are responsible for your family and for yourself. So your body has the right for you to give it the best that you can do, the best that you can afford. So now that you know better, you must do better. Like that's a really important concept in Islam.
Yeah, no. And again, this is all super easy.
Yeah.
And remember because I know there's a lot of moms out there, a lot of people out there, they're like, oh no, my kids will never eat the vegetable. But you said how many times do they need to eat the vegetable?
About seven
times, you guys. 7 times.
Yeah. So for people who are in charge of schools, please change your lunch programs to make better food for the kids. And don't think like, oh, one lunch they don't like it and throw it in the garbage. No. Keep going, and do these kind of educational things with them, because kids are looking to adults for guidance. They're not, you know, we don't need to react. That we know better what's better for them now. So we have to give them what's better and make them excited and happy to do it, you know, not as a punishment, you know, like eat your veggies. Or why do Brussels sprouts have such a bad name? Honestly, I think it's because people didn't really cook them very well.
I know, I love my Brussels sprouts.
I found a recipe in a French cookbook for Brussels sprouts, and it had just simple olive oil, salt, and pepper, bake them in the oven, and they came out so delicious. I love Brussels sprouts, and I never had them until I was in my 30s, you know, because they always had this negative, you know, connotation, like, ew, and it's or you mix them with cabbage and kind of brown them up a little bit, saute them in olive oil or butter. Oh, awesome.
Delicious. That's exactly how I do it. You don't salt them right away.
So
let them brown a little bit. Oh,
yeah.
And remember, I think another quick tip that Yvonne also gave last time was start your meals always with salad and some sort of greens. Because I feel like when you start your meals with vegetables, just like what Yvonne did, what I did, then you basically limit out all the other junk food.
Can you suggest some good non-dairy milk other than almond milk? Oat milk, right? There's oat milk.
So some people have sensitivities to those. So the biggest, I think my next favorite is actually coconut milk.
Yeah.
I love coconut milk. Actually, there's very difficult, even almond milk. They have a lot of emulsifiers and all these other things in almond milk, unless you can find ones without that, because that is possible.
I'm going to send you guys a link on how to make your own almond milk.
That's the easiest, right?
It's so super easy.
So
I'll send you guys a link.
And then the other one, so I love coconut milk. And when you do coconut milk, you want to make sure that it has enough, it has like no gargum in it or nothing else. It's just organic coconut and water. And you can get really great milks and for really good price at Trader Joe's. So Trader Joe's again has really great milk.
You got to really watch your what is it called?
Non-dairy milks.
Ingredients in these things.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because there's a lot, they can put a lot of fillers in there and then you don't want those fillers.
Yeah, you don't want
It's better to make your own, and it's so delicious. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't even add like dates.
It actually tastes like almonds. The ones at the stores to me taste weird. I'm just not a fan.
No, I've only found one or a couple almond milks that just have almonds and water in it. So that's what you really have to look for if you can't make your own. But it's better, again, to make your own. It's so super easy. You just literally soak the almonds, and then you just put them in a blender and put it through a sieve or cheesecloth. And then it's like, I actually even blend it with a little bit of sea salt, vanilla, and a date for sweetness. Oh, so easy, so delicious.
Yeah, you can flavor them really nicely, really nicely. So we've got lots of ideas, but we have to get going because we have other things going on in 20 minutes.
We have lots of crazy things going on.
We have some big plans for you guys, so please stay tuned for our program next week. And next week we're talking about fruits. Are we talking about fruits?
I think so. I know. We'll let you know.
All right. So keep the questions coming, and we can answer them offline. But for now, we got to go, and we hope you enjoyed today's program. And see you guys.
Like and share.
And you know what? I think next week everybody who's here should come back and tell us what they did to improve their quantity. And
yes, homework. We got homework for you. We want to see what you guys did.
Yeah, come back next week and tell us all about what you've done in a week. All right, we'll see you guys later. Take care. Have a great day. Stay safe and healthy.